Live from the heart of downtown West Palm Beach, from Nightly's room, this is Fellas Fridays. I need you to follow and subscribe, like, share, and comment, and head on over to ScootyShades.com and use promo code ScootGang for 15% off all orders. This is Fellas Fridays, episode 45. No respect, no relationship. Welcome back to Fellas Fridays. You already know what this is. No sugarcoating, no excuses, just truth and pressure. Tonight we're talking about the foundation most men ignore until the structure collapses. Respect. Not attraction, not chemistry, not history, and definitely not potential. Respect. Because attraction can start a relationship, but only respect can sustain one. Most men think they lose a woman because the feelings changed. Incorrect. They lose her because the perception changed. And perception changes when standards disappear. A woman doesn't wake up one morning and suddenly stop respecting you. It happens gradually. Every time you tolerate something you said you wouldn't tolerate. Every time you stay after something you said would be a deal breaker. Every time your actions contradict your words. That's when the shift begins. Fellas, understand this clearly. Love is emotional. Respect is structural. Emotions fluctuate. Structure either holds or it fails. A woman can still care about you while no longer respecting you. She can still sleep next to you. She can still text you. She can still smile at you. But internally, she's already repositioned you. You're no longer the man she follows. You're now the man she manages. And once that dynamic is established, the relationship becomes a slow erosion. Not dramatic, not explosive. Quiet. She starts listening less. She starts questioning more. She starts prioritizing herself over the relationship. Not because she's trying to hurt you, because she no longer sees you as the authority in her emotional world. Fellas, this is where most men make their biggest mistake. They try to negotiate respect. They explain their pain. They over-communicate their boundaries. They attempt to reason with behavior that should have been addressed through action. Respect is not negotiated. It's demonstrated. Not through anger, not through control, through consequences. A respected man doesn't argue for better treatment. He adjusts access. Calm, decisive, and final. That's what creates clarity. When there's no consequence for disrespect, disrespect becomes normalized. And normalization is the death of attraction. Because attraction is built on tension, on polarity, on the understanding that the man has standards that cannot be bypassed. Fellas, you can't build a strong relationship from a weak position. If your fear of losing her is greater than your commitment to your principles, you've already lost her. Not physically, but psychologically. Because a woman doesn't feel safe with a man she can emotionally overpower. She feels comfortable. She feels accommodated. But she doesn't feel led. And comfort without leadership leads to boredom. Boredom leads to resentment. And resentment leads to disrespect. This is the sequence. Most of you are not in a broken relationship. You're in relationships where respect has slowly been replaced by convenience. You provide. You show up. You remain available. But your presence no longer carries weight because you remove the one thing that gives a man gravity: self-respect. Fellas, I need you to hear this. Self-respect isn't ego. It's alignment. Doing what you said you'd do. Leaving when you said you'd leave. Refusing what you said you'd refuse. Consistency builds credibility. Credibility builds respect. Respect sustains the bond. Without it, everything becomes performative. She starts testing you more. And what do? You start explaining more. She starts caring less. And you start trying harder. And the harder you try, the further she drifts. Because desperation lowers value. And discipline raises it. This is why some men feel invisible in their own relationship. You're not invisible. You're predictable. And predictability without consequence creates complacency. Fellas, understand the difference between patience and tolerance. Patience is allowing growth. Tolerance is allowing decay. When you tolerate disrespect, you're not saving the relationship. You're only postponing the ending. A relationship without respect isn't a partnership. It's an arrangement built on fear of being alone. And fear's not the foundation. Principle is. So the question isn't whether she respects you today. The question is whether your behavior gives her a reason to tomorrow. Because respect is not a one-time achievement. It's a standard maintained through consistent action. Not words, not promises. Action. That's what separates the man who's admired from the man who's accommodated. That's what separates leadership from dependency. And that's what determines whether the relationship thrives or quietly expires. Fellas, if respect is gone, the relationship's already in its final chapter. You can delay the ending, but you cannot reverse the reality without changing the structure. That's the truth most men avoid. But it's also the truth that sets you free. That's it for this week, fellas. Think on it and apply it. But before we get up on out of here, I need you to head on over to ScootyShades.com and use promo code ScootGang for 15% off all orders. And I will see you right here next Friday from Nightly Studio in the heart of downtown West Palm Beach. Scoot Gang, stand up. Scooty!